Good evening, friends. Thanks, Toxic Links, for inviting me for this. Uh, After listening to Bajaj Saab, I was thinking of going home from straight away from here because there is no crisis, there is no problem. It's all, everything is under control. Uh, uh, right. So, the topic is whether it is a question of soaring demand or mismanagement. Actually, it's both, obviously. The demands are increasing, soaring. They are increasing because of the population increase. They are increasing because of the increasing per capita needs and demands. And so demands are increasing. But is there a scarcity? Yes, there is a scarcity. Uh, by a very rough estimate, at least 50% of the population of Delhi don't get even 50 liters per capita per day. At least 50%. The number can be more. There are people whom I know who don't get 20 liters per capita per day in Delhi. And there are a very large number of them. Once we asked Delhi Jal Board through an RTI, how many Juggi Jhopadis are there in Delhi? How many slums are in Delhi? Because there is a different category, Juggi Jhopadi and slums. How many unauthorized colonies are in Delhi? How many rural villages are in Delhi? How many urban villages are there in Delhi? And then we asked that how much water you give to all of them. So they give some figures for each of them. I haven't got it here. I can give it anybody wants. But the interesting part was this. They said they give to all of them at the rate of 35 gallons per capita per day, which comes to about approximately 140 liters per capita per day. So they had a thumb rule. They give 140 LPCD to everyone, whereas we know that many of them don't get any regular supply. A lot of them depend on standpipes or hand pumps or tanker supplies. So there is a crisis for a lot of people in Delhi, but unfortunately they are not represented here. I wish somebody from that class would have been here, and maybe we would have got a different picture of what is going on. But I agree, largely what you, Mr. Bajaj and Manu Bhatnagar ji said, I largely agree. Delhi has water supply, and I'm so happy to know from Mr. Bajaj that actually Delhi doesn't need Renuka and any other dams. So this is the best conclusion I'm taking away from this. And I'll sleep very happily tonight at least. But the point is that Delhi is pushing for Renuka Dam. And Delhi is hoping to get all of the water of Renuka Dam for Delhi. Of course, it's going to be a pipe dream. Delhi hopes that it is going to get 275 MGD from Renuka Dam. And whole of the water will come here. Maybe it will fly. I don't know how. Because there are states on the way which want their share. But Delhi wants all of it. And in fact, Delhi, the center is ready to fund. Center has declared it as a national project. National project, I mean, look at the beauty of it. A national project, before the project has environment clearance, before the project has forest clearance, before the project has a CEA clearance, before the project has Central Water Commission clearance, before the project has Planning Commission clearance, before the project has wildlife clearance, and before the project has sanction or consent from the people who are going to be affected. Very large number. Very large amount of forest is going to. So without anything of this, our water establishment declares it as a national project. And 90% of the money will go from the center. And Delhi is really pushing for Renuka Dam. But this consensus today is, I think, most remarkable, that Delhi does not need Renuka Dam. I think that's very important. Really, I'm repeating, but I know I'm very happy. That's why I'm repeating. Okay, coming to what is actually, Delhi is a very privileged city, a national capital, but it's setting a very wrong example in water management. We all agreed that there is a lot of mismanagement. The Delhi Jal Board people are not there, but as usual, we can indulge in bashing the Delhi Jal Board. To just give you a picture of what the mismanagement involves, Delhi does not harvest its rain. It doesn't protect its water bodies. There are 1,500 water bodies around 1930. And today there are a handful of them. They are all deteriorating every single day. Delhi does not have equity in water supply. Delhi cannot treat its sewage. It has only 400 MGD of installed capacity. None of the 17 STPs work even at 50% capacity. None of them. And nobody knows why. Delhi has no demand-side management measures in place. Delhi doesn't do groundwater management. Delhi Jal Board says they officially use 100 MGD. You said about 80, it's exactly 100 they have been saying. But rough estimate says that in addition, citizens use between 100 and 300 MGD extra in addition. Nobody knows exactly how much it is, but it's more than 100 MGD additional. It could be up to 300 MGD additional. So there is no proper groundwater management. There is an issue of sustainability of rivers. Delhi has destroyed one of the biggest river of the country, Yamuna. In fact, Yamuna is bigger than Ganga. Where Ganga and Yamuna meet at Allahabad, Yamuna brings more water than Ganga. So Yamuna is in that sense bigger than Ganga. But that Yamuna has been completely destroyed only because of Delhi. This is CPCB says. As soon as Yamuna enters Delhi downstream from Wazirabad, it's not that it has no fresh water, it's all of it is sewage practically. So Delhi has destroyed the river itself. It doesn't protect floodplain. More and more encroachments are happening on floodplain, and floodplain is very important groundwater recharge zone besides other things. It doesn't protect the ridge, which is again very important environmental resource of Delhi. It doesn't do any proper reuse, recycle. I mean, one can go on. Charge sheet can be much longer than this of what the problems with Delhi's water management are. And now, in 2005, in 2002, it first proposed the blanket water privatization in Delhi with the kind consent and encouragement from Planning Commission and World Bank. There was a huge protest. I think RWAs and citizens and a lot of people woke up and said that this will not be acceptable. And the government had to withdraw. In 2005, the government actually had to cancel the whole project, for which whole blueprint was ready, the contracts were ready, the World Bank wanted to fund it, Planning Commission was pushing for it. Of course, Montek's son himself was one of the working with the consultants and so on. That's a different issue. But fortunately, it fell through because of the protest. Now, Delhi is again attempting it at pilot scale, so-called pilot scale in 3 different regions, in Malviya Nagar, in Vasant Vihar. And the third one, interestingly, was Nangloi till 1 month back. Now Nangloi is out and Mehrauli has come in. Nobody knows how. But Nangloi is no longer in the third pilot project. Mehrauli is third one. We'll have to find out what it is. So now in these 3 areas, they are attempting the same thing what they were trying in 2002 to 2005. That is having a management consultant whose role will be distribution of water supply, operation and management of the distribution system, collection of the revenue, and they will manage it. The contract says that there will be 3 phases of the project. First 6 months will be preparation of the DPR, the whole investment plan. The second 2 years will be, next 24 months, will be implementation of the investment plan and DPR. And then 10 years after that, 8 to 10 years, 8 years in case of Vasant Vihar and 10 years in case of Malviya Nagar, is the period where which they will continue to maintain this contract. They will bring down the non-revenue water. Actually, according to Delhi Jal Board, the non-revenue water, I was part of a working group for urban water for 12th 5-year plan, and where Delhi Jal Board's chief CEO came and made a presentation, and he said that Delhi's non-revenue water is 68%. That means for 68% of the water that Delhi Jal Board supplies, it does not get revenue what it is supposed to get. 40% is physical losses, included a subset of the 68%. So 40%, and the rest is, in addition, so 40% is physical losses, and for the rest, they don't get even the money that what they supply. Now, the consultant is supposed to bring down this non-revenue water up to 15% within a period of 36 months, and number of things it is supposed to do. And for two of the pilot projects, for Vasant Vihar and Malviya Nagar, we are already in the second phase. The first phase is already over. So the contracts, and in the before this thing, there were contracts and tendering and all that is over. So now actual implementation is supposed to be going on. So unfortunately, neither the people of that area really woke up and to understand the significance of it, nor the rest of the city's civil society really woke up to mobilize itself. There have been people who have been raising voice about this, the dangers of this, but it is not gone. So, so this is now going on, and this is again happening, basically saying that Delhi Jal Board cannot manage, cannot reduce the losses. The story of 40% physical losses is not today. It's the same story I have been listening for 20 years now. There's no improvement. So what you say is that, what we see is that Delhi gets water from not just Yamuna, it gets Yamuna, but it also gets water from Ganga, as Bajaj Saab said, but it also gets water from Satluj, Bhakhara Dam. And now it wants more water from different sources. And that is because Delhi is like a privileged child, is a spoiled child. It demands and it gets what it demands. So Delhi said, we want more water, we want Renuka Dam. So center said, okay, happily. And they asked Himachal Pradesh to do this. Himachal Pradesh almost agreed. Environment clearance was given. Fortunately, National Green Tribunal has stayed the environment clearance and construction of the project because even the EIA was shoddy. But I'll not go into details of that. We can go into it if there are questions. But I think I mean, my own concern is that we have all been bashing Delhi Jal Board on all these counts for long. At least I have been saying this for long. But the problem is there is no improvement. And we are not really working, unfortunately, towards how do we improve the state of affairs? How do we make the Delhi Jal Board functioning more democratic? How do we make it more transparent? How do we make it more accountable? How do we make it more participatory? How do we make the STPs function? How do we reduce the inequities? How do we ensure that the people get at least 100 liters per capita per day, even though the claim is 140, at least they get 50 liters per assured quality and quantity of water every day everybody gets, but we don't have a system to ensure that. So I think that's the concern, that things are not really improving. The mismanagement story remains there. And we are not finding a way of improving the state of affairs. And the situation will get worsened because the population is increasing in Delhi and the demand is increasing. And the people who have the pay, now this kind of privatization is very simple. Private parties is obviously for making profit, and their profit is going to increase in proportion to the revenue they collect. For every additional revenue collect, they get more money. For every reduction they can show in this thing, water supply, they get more money. So the consultant is going to, and he will get more revenue. For example, now there is slab system in Delhi. So if for a lower slab, say the rate is 7.2 liters, rupees 7.2 per kiloliter today, the lowest slab. As you go up and up, the per kiloliter per meter cube, the rates goes up. So if I am using, for example, if you are using the lowest slab, and large number of people are using lowest slab, but if there are a few people who are using very high slab and they are ready to pay for the water, then what will happen? For the private party, it's easier to generate more revenue by giving more water to the people who are consuming more, because they will get more money for every single additional cubic meter. If they give to commercial and mixed use, again, they will get more water. So for hotels and all commercial uses or golf courses, they will get more water for every unit of water. Whereas if they have to give to lowest slab people who use only 50 liters per capita per day, they will get the very small amount. So he wants to increase the profit. So this is just one example of what's likely to scenario can happen and particularly when we don't have any credible regulatory system. We don't have any credible grievance redressal system. No. Today, if you don't get water, where do you go? You can complain to Delhi Jal Board, you can complain. But is there a credible grievance redressal mechanism? Is there a credible mechanism will ensure that the people get the water? Is that right? There is none. In such a system, when you introduce this kind of PPP, which is is the same thing as privatization, then there are much greater dangers. So I think we need to be aware of those dangers, and at the same time we need to see how we can work further on these issues. There are some more details I have on specific these three projects. If anybody wants to know, I can give, but I'll stop at that. Thank you.